Part 2 of this lecture will discuss the Phanerozoic eon, and Phanerozoic means visible or evident animals. So this eon is from 541 million years ago to present day and has fossils and shells abundant, an increased oxygen in the atmosphere, and is subdivided into three eras: the Paleozoic, the Mesozoic, and the Cenozoic, with the Cenozoic being the most recent and continuing into present day. The divisions of the Phanerozoic eon and eras are present on the right, along with further subdivisions into periods with their specific numerical ages present. Much of our discussion about the Phanerozoic will include references to paleogeography or ancient geography. This is important because the Phanerozoic is the eon in which life on Earth became very complex and radiated out onto land from the oceans. And in order for us to understand how life evolved in these ways, it's important for us to reference the locations of the continents on Earth's sphere. And when we understand if the continents are at high latitudes or equatorial latitudes, or together versus separate, we can understand the evolution of life slightly better. So in the early Paleozoic, particularly in the Cambrian and Ordovician periods of the Paleozoic, we had Laurentia, which is consisting of America, North America, and Greenland, and the supercontinent Gondwana, which included South America, Africa, Arabia, Antarctica, India, and Australia. And then on the edges of these supercontinents, we had epicontinental seas. The Cambrian explosion occurred right at the beginning of the Phanerozoic in the Cambrian, and this was a huge diversification of life, possibly related to the breakup of Pannotia into Laurentia and Gondwana. So we see animals like trilobites, corals, brachiopods, and nautiloids existing in the Cambrian fossil record. In the Middle Paleozoic, particularly in the Silurian and Devonian periods, in terms of paleogeography, we had the Caledonian orogeny, which collided Baltica and Laurentia, the Akkadian orogeny, where microcontinents collided with the United States on its eastern side, or its modern eastern side, and the Antler orogeny, where island arcs collided with the modern west coast of the United States, beginning mountain building events. Life evolved significantly in the Silurian and Devonian, with new invertebrate species like spiders and other insects becoming existent, vascular or woody plants introduced, which led to the creation of the first forests on Earth. And then we also had the first vertebrates to walk on land. In the bottom right, we have the fossil known as Tiktaalik, which was the first fish that is known to have washed or swam up to the shore and started to use its fins as a locomotive device without being in the water. The late Paleozoic era consists of the Carboniferous and Permian periods. In terms of paleogeography, this is when Pangaea supercontinent formed. In particular, Gondwana collided with Laurentia in the Alleghanian orogeny. The Alleghanian orogeny was one mountain building event that led to the formation of the Appalachian Mountains. And the cross-section in the figure shows some deformation due to collisions and also shows some of the accreted terrains to North America during this period. The Carboniferous period is known for its swamps, which are the origin of Earth's first coal deposits. Also, amphibians and reptiles began to populate the land. In the Permian, there was an extinction that wiped out over 96% of the existent marine species and over 70% of terrestrial species, making it the most deadly mass extinction in the history of Earth. The early and middle Mesozoic era includes the Triassic and Jurassic periods. Mesozoic meaning middle animals. In terms of paleogeography, Pangaea began to break up in the Triassic, which led to the formation of the Atlantic Ocean. Relatively warm climate also led to the total melt of glaciers in polar regions. For those curious, this is a time when Florida began to form as well, as it was a broken off piece of Africa that ended up attached to the North American continent. Dinosaurs first appeared in the Triassic and Jurassic periods, as well as the first feathered birds and mammals. The Cretaceous period is included in the late Mesozoic era, and it's characterized by a warming climate and a rising sea level. The Sierran Arc and Laramide orogeny began to build the West Coast mountain ranges in North America. By the late Cretaceous period, the Atlantic Ocean had fully formed, and India was moving rapidly northward towards Asia. In the Cretaceous, a long seaway flooded the western interior of North America, and a large continental volcanic arc, known as the Sierran Arc, grew on its west coast. The severe fold and thrust belt formed to the east of the arc. If you're curious about some of these terms, you can review the mountain building chapter in the textbook. This seaway is an example of why there's so many dinosaur fossils in the western United States. There was water and swampy areas on the edges of the seaway where you get lots of life and preservation of hard-bodied fossils. At the end of the Cretaceous, the United States and the Laramide orogeny occurred, moving from the severe thrust belt. This formed the Rocky Mountains. In the Cretaceous, modern fish appeared, mammals diversified and increased in size, and angiosperms, known as flowering plants, appeared. The Cretaceous Paleogene extinction, or KPG extinction, occurred from an asteroid impact at the end of the Cretaceous.